fanatics. Glad you could join us here for another edition of Gridiron Gab Pro Style. Where we gab about all things pro football, from the scores of the postseason and the picks in the offseason. Let's start gabbing.
The autumn winds move like the thunderous waves of Neptune's sacred palace. And here, amongst the blackened soil, lies the ragged hands, worn, torn, and callous. They await with cunning and vicious prowess, for the warriors have returned.
Come on, Dave! Don't do it! Woo! No way! Blue, 85! Crying out loud! Are you kidding me? You're driving me nuts!
But behold...
Welcome back, you guys. Thank you for joining us for the championship edition of Gridiron Gab Pro Style. I am, of course, Mr. CeeLo here. And here we are. We are a couple of hours away from the big game and the big clash between Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, who's claiming his stake at the MVP. Well, as we look here, we can see that many are choosing this to be Lamar Jackson's opportunity to break through. He did win a playoff game last week against a very young Houston Texans team. But individuals like myself, who's not a fan of either one of these teams, more of a fan of the Chiefs than I am the Ravens, Mahomes has been unshaken. It seems like no matter what is thrown his way, he's proving that he's arguably the best player in the National Football League. And even myself, who it looked like he was on the ropes last week, it looks like he and Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo still figure out a way to get this thing done. And they've got a tough challenge ahead of them this week, and a quarterback who pretty much is a running back playing quarterback. You know, I could care less what people think about my perception on this, but Todd Monken is the guy that has really had this guy going. He's a very gifted offensive coordinator. I would argue one of the best. I said to many University of Georgia fans that this was going to be it when they lost this guy to the Ravens last season. And I was very much correct when Todd Monken left. What's amazing is this guy is an incredible play caller, and he has such an in-game play caller. And you could tell that Georgia was missing that this season in many cases. And what he's done in Baltimore is nothing short than extraordinary, which, as I've said many a times, you guys, I was hoping that the Carolina Panthers would have pursued him. But that you can't cry about spilled milk. It is what it is, and you just have to go with it. But looking here, the favorites are the Baltimore Ravens. Now, me personally, I understand why they're the favorites, but in reality, I don't know why. Because the road for the Chiefs has been tough. They've had to win 2 road games. Relatively 2 playoff games, and had to win a pretty darn tough game in the first matchup in the wild card round. You know, this was nothing to sneeze at. You know, you're watching a Miami team who was coming up hot, and they just dismantled them. You know, and this is not to say that Miami was full strength. You know, they were short a defensive back, and they were, of course, short Jalen Waddle. But in real time, you have to respect the fact that they still beat them handily, because nobody was beating Miami. You know, and I'll be honest with you, yes, up until those last 3 games, you know, Miami basically put themselves in a very tough situation. But, you know, looking at what the Chiefs were able to do, and even that win that they had at Buffalo, when it seemed like so many times that this game was going to get out of reach. And Buffalo couldn't put it away. But Kansas City and Steve Spagnuolo figured out how to get this thing done, which was extraordinary usage. I didn't call it. Anyway, what's really remarkable is I do look at what Baltimore's done this season, but at the same time, it's like you haven't shown me in totality what you're capable of. And these two teams, let me put it to you like this. These two teams, especially Baltimore, this is the team that is considered by certain members of the media as a contender, not by me. To me, Lamar Jackson has never proven himself. People can sit there and say MVP awards, this, that, and the other. He's just a different breed of athlete. His numbers are freakishly good, but do they translate into victories? Would Lamar Jackson's playability be able to win games if they weren't on another team? That's fair. But as I said before, this is an animal this Baltimore defense has no recollection. And the last I've seen these two teams play, Mahomes got the better of it. And the fact is, people have to awaken to the fact that when you blitz heavy, it sometimes comes back to bite you. But I will say this, do the Chiefs have the same weapons at wide receiver that they've had in the past? No, but they do have Andy Reid. They do have Andy Reid, and this is huge because Andy Reid has always been a very scheme type of guy that will do certain things to throw you off. And the same thing as Todd Monken. And the Chiefs relatively run the same kind of defense with Spagnuolo that the Ravens do. They win and die. They live and die by the blitz. Leave their DBs on an island. Only guy that I think can win one-on-ones. They're gonna say Odell Beckham. He's shell of who he used to be, and Zay Flowers. But the Ravens do get back Mark Andrews, so that is a huge boost for the Baltimore Ravens offense. But as far as being concerned, this Kansas City defense has shown me that they can play in pivotal moments. Now, however, Todd Monken is a different beast when it comes to coaching within the game. He's one of those coaches that he feels like, I'm willing to concede this drive to so that I can go back and figure something out or come up with a new plan or bait you into something later on. That is what I like about him. But this is where it's going to get interesting with the Chiefs. Do I think a lot of man causes a lot of issues when it comes to scrambling lanes? Of course. But, and as we alluded to seeing that against Buffalo with Josh Allen, but this is going to be a different beast. Josh Allen, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Spag says to his guys, look, if this guy can beat us throwing the football, so be it. You got guys like Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp that want to say this guy can beat you throwing the football. He going to have to show me.
Bruh.
Going to have to show me. This is, a lot of what's gone down is Zay Flowers has been able to get wide open on a lot of scramble out drills. And Monken's done a great job throwing wide receiver screens, running back screens, and he's been the recipient of a lot of yak.
Dumb shit!
Whereas you look at what the Chiefs are susceptible to is that type of play calling. And Monken does a great job of it. But do I think the Chiefs contain what they want to do? Of course they do. I think what happens is everybody's going to be manned up, and they're going to force Lamar Jackson to beat him throwing the football. They're going to close everything up. They're going to keep Chris Jones right there in that middle. And anytime Lamar Jackson tries to split it, he's going to get him. And I think it's going to be a situation where the Ravens are going to be trying to keep that ball away from Mahomes. And I think with their type of mentality, they're going to try to put pressure on Mahomes. And it's going to cost them because they just can't resist. They're going to have to put pressure on the quarterback. I think they can't resist it. And therefore, I think they finally, within the last 2 to 3 years, Mahomes has been wanting to take the deep shots. This is going to be one of those games where he's going to get to do that. If you remember when they won their first Super Bowl, and the 2 years after they won it, they were having a lot of problems because teams were playing them to take the cover off the D. Now they're in a situation where they've got guys like Pacheco. But Baltimore's one of those teams, they're going to sell out anyway. And I think this plays into Kansas City's hands because their best player receiving the football is a tight end. And this definitely plays into this could be a game where Travis Kelce goes crazy. Because as we know, Travis Kelce is a nightmare against linebackers and safeties. A team that loves to leave them in isolated situations. Now, if the Ravens choose to go, and they did this against Houston, they choose to bring 7 guys up and only rush 4, and they can confuse Kansas City, which a lot of teams are unable to do, then that draws a simple comparison to, does Andy Reid have the ability to change the game plan or manipulate the game plan within the game? This game right here can make Andy Reid one of the greatest coaches of all time if he can pull this one out, because I see this one being a nightmare for them, being that they only have one viable target, if you will. Now, Noah Brown's going to be a nightmare as well, because especially if you run the double tight end set and you bring 2 tight ends in which Kansas City has been known to do, and it's just one of those where it's like, hey, these guys are just adjusting on the fly. Can't get a top receiver? Hey, we'll just go with a tight end. And they have been so good plugging in guys to do their thing. And I said Noah Gray. I'm sorry. My apologies.
What a dumbass!
They've been able to push so many good guys in there, along with Rashee Rice. He's been a huge find for this team. Other than you've got guys like Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney has not been able to do anything. Justin Ross, I'm surprised they haven't been able to use him. He was such a star at Clemson, but as I said before, you've got guys like Justin Watson who stepped up and made some big plays. Sky Moore has been non-existent this season. Of course, Mecole Hardman has been silent as well in his quote-unquote return, if you will. But the real challenge for the Chiefs is, are they going to be able to stop the Baltimore running game? Would not surprise me to see Monken take more of a simple Houston approach, trying to get Lamar Jackson more carries. It would not surprise me to see more motion to get Lamar on the perimeter, because as I said, I'm still not sold on his accuracy, but he does have that chemistry with Mark Andrews. It'll be interesting to see if that chemistry has been wavered a little bit since he's been gone, since late November, and how many plays he'll be able to participate in. But as I said, I think Zay Flowers is going to be the huge X factor for them. Not any of the other wide receivers. Maybe Mark Andrews. None of the running backs are going to be huge. I think it's between Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and possibly Zay Flowers. If these guys don't get going, they're not going to win this game.
This is over.
They're not going to win this game. And I think ultimately the Chiefs are going to struggle a little bit early because they're not going to know if Baltimore's coming. But I think ultimately what happens is the Baltimore Ravens become a victim of their own package, which is blitzing. They like to blitz, and Patrick Mahomes is as cool as they come. That offensive line is good. They're very good, and they understand what they need to do. They understand. Now, when I say Baltimore's really good, they could put 8 on the line of scrimmage, drop back 4, but they send 3 guys on one side. And that's where the confusion comes into play. All you have to do is get there. But Mahomes has become so good at reading the blitz, and Andy Reid is so good at adjusting to certain packages that the defense throws at him. But ultimately, I am going to take the Chiefs to go to their next Super Bowl.
You're a stupid dumbass.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I feel like Baltimore, everybody's jumping on Baltimore's bandwagon, but I feel like the Chiefs haven't shown me. They've shown me they could get beat this season, but at the same time, I'm looking at, and I think Lamar Jackson throws this game right to the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs have a blitz package of their own. And he hasn't shown an instinctive ability to throw into the blitz. He's shown an ability to run through the blitz, but not throw through it. And I think the Chiefs win this game by 3.
You got think.
And punch their ticket to another Super Bowl. But the odds-in favorites are showing that the Ravens are the overwhelming favorites, surprisingly. And that is nuts to me. It really is. And, I've just got some breaking news. Kadarius Toney is out for this game. Not surprising. He stays hurt. So wouldn't be surprised if he's gone bye-bye.
What the
At the end of the season, because that was just a total. Sorry to say this about another player, but that was just the worst selection. And
Is that your best?
honestly, it is a move that will more than likely hurt in the long run because of what they had to give up. But let me know what you guys think as I am getting here to pull up, just in case you guys want to know. I am attempting to pull up Okay, so 70% of you say that the Baltimore Ravens are going to win this game. I can't believe that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Hit me up on the Facebook page of Gridiron Gab Pro Style. I want to give a shout out to my girl Hannah. Thank you so much for participating. Hope you enjoy the content and continue to keep coming by. Thank you so much, Hannah. Also, go to my Instagram page at Mr. CeeLo and see what other shows I'm involved in. I will be getting back on my Carolina Panther show, letting you guys know about who we hired as head coach, as well as you already know who we hired at GM. But also, give me some input, guys. It's about to be time for the off season for everyone, and let me know which team you guys are just most dying to know what you think Mr. CeeLo has on the brain as far as what they need to do, especially between the Chicago Bears, whom hold the #1 pick. But we can't get too ahead. We got the AFC title game here, and we got the NFC title game coming up tomorrow. But until the next time, you guys, same Gap channel, same Gap platform.
But behold, there is a warm breeze that comes from the west. The blazing sounds of victory fuel their everlasting quest. It is a call to arms. For they are here, an army that has the will to challenge and the will to dare.